you do and give glory to God.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray here from The Doctor Is In. I am so delighted to be part of your Catholic radio station's pledge drive. Well, did I explain to you my Amway theory? Very simple. You give to this station, you support Catholic radio, and you get a percentage credit of all the lives that are changed. This is true. I've been at this business a long time. I'll tell you, if you only knew the amount of people whose lives have been changed by Catholic radio. We're here for the Lord. We are basically going out, like he says, and teaching him whatsoever he taught. So, if you support this station, it would be hard to find something where your support goes as far as it does.
I'm Dr. Ray, and I'm trying to tell you that.
Uh-oh.
I'm doing my Dr. Ray. This is Dr. Ray Garendi, and I'm telling you that this has got to be something that you really want to do.
You better start calling.
All right, listen, if you like that impression of Dr. Ray, call in and say so. I want to hear, this is Dr. Ray Garendi, and I'm here to help you. I mean, what are you trying to say?
I don't know about it.
I think it works pretty well.
Very good, Jim.
You got to help domestic church media. I mean, after all, it's a Catholic radio station.
But it's true. What he says is true. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of mileage for your dollar.
You do, and you can start pumping up that much.
Dollars.
Right.
Hey, let's lay it on the line.
609-882-9357. I went out. We had, a 9-minute break here while Dr. Ray was on. I went out to grab, I was going to grab something because I'm starving. And my sister stopped me and she says, get back on the air. Nobody's calling. Oh. I said, we've been on the air. She says, well, nobody's calling.
So we're back.
You got to start calling because my relatives are getting upset. They're having a grand party out there.
I know. Listen to them. Get those phones ringing.
All that. Maybe they're not hearing the phones ring. They're making so much noise out there.
I know. Well, it is fun, and it's all in the joy of the Lord. You know, like it's this one big family, and maybe you want to be a part of that family because you're a brand new listener. Maybe you just learned out about the radio station. Well, we are on the air now for 3 days. We come to you once a year to try to draw in your pledge, to try to draw in your support, because many, many people, their lives have been changed. As you heard Dr. Ray say, lives are being changed that we don't even know about.
That's right.
But God knows. And between you and God, what can you do to make a little sacrifice in reparation for something in your past, as a memorial gift for someone that you love, that you have lost, and just to support the work that is the light of God going out over the airways. You know, a lot of dials on the channel, a lot of things to choose from, and a lot of them are very, very dark. They're going to give you untruths. Am I correct?
Yeah, lies, basically lies, deception, deceit. That's not from God. That's from the devil.
And it'll start drawing you down a darker path. So you want to find 1260, or maybe it's 89.3 there towards the shore.
91.9 FM, 1580, or online, streaming audio, our mobile apps.
Around the world, people call us from Germany, Rome, Canada. Yeah. Let's hear.
You got a call from Rome? Was the Holy Father again? I told him not to call us here.
Why not? I said not during this Triduum. Maybe next week. There's another Triduum.
Does he know we're busy? 609-882-9357. Thank you to Genevieve, $25.64. She picked up the bank fee. And also Ruth, $40. Thank you so much. Now, here's where we are, folks. We're at, for the day, so far, $20,068. Now, last year, on the second day of the Radiothon, we raised $44,000. So we're $24,000 off that pace. Yikes. And we have until 7 o'clock tonight to do that. So we got to pick up the pace here. We got to do more in any way we can, any way you can. And as I said, people say, gee, I can only give $20. I can only give $25. Don't say only, because every dollar counts. Every dollar, every single dollar counts. Every single dollar is a beacon of light. It's a lumen that will help to illumine our listening area. So don't say that it's not enough, right? It's not as much. I hear people calling in with their $1,000 gifts, which is beautiful, but they can afford that.
Right.
And if maybe some of them even can't, they're just kind of trusting in the Lord and thanking God. Right. But whatever you can do, we don't ask you to go over and above your means. All we ask is you to do something. If you're listening to this radio station that you're listening to online, whoever you're listening or watching, and you're benefiting from it on a regular basis or at all, if ever, I'm sure you have, please support the work. We come to you once a year with this radiothon. I've been encouraged at many times to do it more than once, and I keep saying I don't really. I know we need have the financial need, but I believe in our listeners. I believe that they can come through in a big way for us. Prove me right that we don't need to do another one of these until next spring. That's only going to happen when we can raise. Now, our total operating budget for the year is about $370,000 for the entire year.
And last year, for this annual radiothon, we made $155,000.
We raised $155,000,
which is a huge amount. But out of the entire cost to operate on an annual basis, it was still only 41%. So it was only 41% of the total operating costs, which is why we come to you and say, not for any other reason, not for any competitive reason, not to play any games. It's because we need it. You know, we'd like to do better than last year because we need to do better than last year, especially on the edge of receiving the most recent email from our financial board member who's an expert in finances.
The first quarter of this year was not good. And he said, we can't continue this way. I mean, he was very serious. He goes, if we don't do well on this radiothon, I'm going to be very worried, he said. And that's we're not bluffing. We tell the truth. And I have to present that to you as steward over the apostolate, that, we don't want to have to start cutting back.
Right.
We certainly are going to disappear right away, but we don't want to start cutting back either.
And what is the first thing that gets cut back? Think about your public schools and other things. It's music, right? It's the music teacher that goes, or the arts program. It's the arts. And I know a lot of people love to tap in and hear the music. They wake up to it, or they listen for a little bit of teaching. I give you a couple notes. I don't give you a quiz. But that BMI ASCAP licensing fee is what,
$7,000,
$8,000 a year, and we are going to get the music.
If we snip that, we can't play music.
Right.
And I know so many people enjoy the music, and
so we don't want to cut corners that way.
No. Maybe there's someone who says, you know what, I'll pay for the music all year. I'll make a donation of $7,000. Earmark that for your music license fees, so I can ensure musical is going to be on the rest of the year. You can do that. We certainly accept that
happens,
type of gift.
I'll come to your house and personally sing you songs.
There you go. We'll croon outside your front door. But that's another thing. People can earmark their donation for a certain expense, and that's a good point. The music license fee is about $7,000 a year. You could call in and make a donation and say, I'll donate $7,000, but I want this to be strictly for the music, and that it ensure me that for another year the music will play on your station.
And then maybe there's somebody in the 89.3 area that has been, receiving a generous gift or some sort of. I'm not thinking of the lottery, like the tax return or some other type
inheritance. Maybe somebody got an inheritance.
And they might want to pay the tower rental fee. We don't have an office over there. We don't have a building. Right. But we do have the tower, which a lot of people use. But we have to rent space to put our little unit on.
Yeah, it costs us, for those of you who listen to 89.3 in Freehold, it costs us about $2,500 a month just to lease space to put our tower where it is, and to house our transmitter over there. And our tower and our transmitter, if you're familiar with the area, at the intersection of Route 34 and Route 18, there's you can see two radio towers back there. They're not ours. Our antenna is on one. We're leasing the space. But that costs us $2,500 a month just to put our antenna and our transmitter on someone else's property. $2,500 a month. Well, okay, do the math on that one. So that's why it's important when we budget, and we have a wonderful bookkeeper and a wonderful financial committee that looks at the budget, the board of directors, and go over the budget. And the last board meeting we had, our board member who is overseeing the financial end of it said, I look at this budget and I look at your expenditures. He goes, and I've been in business. You're not really wasting any money here. It's true. We're very frugal. We're very, very careful of how we spend our money. I should say how we spend your money because you're donating it. But we don't have enough. And that's the problem. We don't have enough to take care of some of our expenses, especially over the past first quarter of this year. So anyway, I don't like talking that type of hardcore money, but that's what it's about. And, as Doug Keck says in one of his spots, it takes local money to have local Catholic radio.
Right.
And we need our local listeners to support the work because for as much as we love EWTN, we're an affiliate of theirs and have been for many, many, many years. We don't receive any financial assistance from them. So if you write a check to EWTN, we don't get a part of that. We don't get a cut. When you write a check to the diocese for the bishop's appeal or any other fundraisers they have at the diocesan level, we don't get any of that. We've never received a dime from any diocese we serve financially. So we need you to step out and support us. And I said, on our little break there earlier, my sister says, get on the phones. Nobody's calling. So start calling, please. 609-882-9357. 609-882-9357. So far this hour, with the matching gift, we've raised $3,490. Let's take that up. We're at $55,840 for the 2 days so far. Can we make that 60 before 3 o'clock?
We're talking the great hour of mercy.
Can we get to $60,000 by 3 o'clock, and we have another hour and 10 minutes? Is that possible? Well, it'll take about $4,200 to do that. I think if my mental math is correct. I'm looking at the number here, but in that ballpark, $4,200 in an hour and 10 minutes. Nothing's impossible with God.
And we've seen that all day.
Absolutely.
All day yesterday and all this morning.
But you have to call to do it, or go online to our website, domesticchurchmedia.org, and make an online donation with your debit or credit card. That's domesticchurchmedia.org. Or you can go text the word donate to 609-493-8255. That's 609-493-8255. Now, when Father Jim Grogan was here, of course, he's the pastor at Nativity Parish in Fairhaven. He celebrated Holy Mass for us, a wonderful priest, been a friend of the apostolate for a long time. When he was leaving, he poked his head in the door here in the studio and said, $45,000 today, Jim. So that means Father Jim says we have to raise $45,000 today. And he's right, because that'll beat last year's 44. So if you're from Fairhaven, if you're from Nativity Parish, we need about, $24,000 between now and 7 o'clock. Maybe you can help with that. Just give us a call at 609-882-9357. 609-882-9357. I've not seen the tote board change since we've been on the air at 1 o'clock. So, friends, you have to call 609-882-9357 and make a pledge of support for the work we're doing here. Again, can't do it without you, my friends. We're doing the best we can with what we have, but we need you to step forward. Make a donation today, please, won't you? As I shared with you yesterday, we were talking about a survey that was taken by John Paul University a few years ago. And they surveyed Catholic radio listeners. And the survey found out that 30% of those Catholic radio listeners said they returned to the faith because of Catholic radio. And another 60% said they're more involved in their parishes because they listen to Catholic radio. 70% said Catholic radio helped them teach their children better in the faith. 80% said they learned more about the faith by listening to Catholic radio. And 90% said they've grown spiritually because of Catholic radio. So again, my brothers and sisters, your donation dollar goes a long way in boosting people's spirituality and encouraging people to teach their children the right things in life, encouraging people to get more involved in their parishes. And again, doesn't happen unless you give us a call, 609-882-9357. Thank you. We have an anonymous gift of $300 that just came in. Thanks be to God. Thank you, Anonymous. We appreciate that.
And let that inspire others. Beautiful. Great job, everybody. We're the little engine that should.
Right, that's right.
That should keep climbing.
Right.
And let's just keep that excitement going. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's get all our volunteers are excited. They'll run in with, look at this beautiful testimony, or look at this, I want to pray for this personal intention. You're touching their lives, and you're bringing them great joy. When you call, they get to speak with you. They're listeners too, and they like to hear the voices that are out there across the miles. Can I also, as you're calculating
Yes,
there,
please do.
I'd like to give another thank you to our great supporters, of course, all those that are here answering the phones and doing the computer work and all those bits and pieces that need to get done. Thank you, our runners. Everyone's working off the great lunches that have been provided by yesterday Classico tomato pies. And we dabbled into some of that again today.
Yeah.
So a little bit of leftovers, which is always better the second day. And that's James Pittari and the Pittari family over there in, where is Classico? In Princeton?
West Windsor, was it? Or
West Windsor.
Windsor. Some kind of Windsor, I think.
One of those Windsors.
One of the Windsors.
Okay. But you can look it up. Classico. You can't go wrong. Classico
I can look it up.
tomato
I have it
pies.
here, I think. don't I?
Okay, so you're going to look that up because I don't have that in front of me.
You know. They are in 358 Princeton Heightstown Road, West Windsor, New Jersey.
West Windsor.
ClassicoTomatoPies.com.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so that was very, very good. And we like to support the local businesses. I mean, these are families. They're, doing the best
And they're very
that they
generous
can.
to us, donating all this food.
And that's just it. They're supporting us in the way that they do best. And today, Risoldi's, you're talking about family. Risoldi's Market is in Mercerville, and they're on Quaker Bridge Road in a shopping center. Nice family market, and they do catering, and they brought us sandwiches and salads and pasta salad and even some, I think, a touch of chocolate, a dessert.
Oh, really? Risoldi's Market and Catering, Clover Square, 3100 Quaker Bridge Road, www.risoldimarket.com.
And they have helped us for years. So thank you so much, family. And last night, Leonardo's, another good Catholic man, Bob Pluta, over there doing
2021 Brunswick Avenue in Lawrenceville.
So that's literally right around the corner. And we even broadcast live once
did
from there.
broadcast live,
So do
yeah.
you see the community coming together and helping each other out? It's almost like the medieval days when, I'll bring you a goat, you give me a cow. Remember those days, Jim?
Don't look at me when you say
But the bartering,
Bartering,
I
sure,
will
yeah.
sweep your hut if you give me a chicken.
Yeah, we learned about bartering in history class, didn't we?
Right, but from who else? God rest his whole soul, Father Richard, and he was from Africa.
That's right. Yeah, he was
and he
from-
would say
in Kenya.
in Kenya they would say mass under a tree, a
Right.
big shade tree, and the people would come, and when they brought up the gifts, it literally would be eggs and
That's
animals.
right. That was just
and things
to
from
help,
the farm
to help
and
the priests because they would go from village to village, and that would be their sustenance to the next village.
vegetables and fruit.
Bruce is not here. Of course, Bruce DeBacco was scheduled to be my co-host, but was struck ill, and we're certainly praying for him. And
You got lucky, and you got Cheryl.
No, it's wonderful. You've been doing great. People calling in and say, "Boy, we love Cheryl."
Well,
Hello.
So maybe Jim could take a couple days off, and I'll give it a
You
shot.
can do that,
I don't
sure.
know. I don't think.
But I want to say, last year Bruce gave a wonderful explanation of tithing.
Yes.
So I'm going to play that for you. So Bruce really is here with us in spirit and virtually with us. Listen to Bruce DeBacco's teaching about what a true tithe is.
Way back with Abraham when he rescued Lot and he gave Melchizedek a tenth. And it's followed all through the Bible, even into the New Testament, when Jesus condemns the Pharisees and the religious for tithing even herbs, but not giving God themselves. And so he tells them, don't forget the tithing, but make sure you do this too. And it's a step of faith. And I've seen in my own life how many times that I tithe, and I tithe all the time. And I don't like to brag. I shouldn't be saying this. But when you tithe, God makes everything work out because his math is not our math. I know this sounds crazy, and you mathematicians out there are going to wonder what I'm talking about. God can take that 90%, I'm talking 10% right off the top, your gross, 10%. God's going to make that 90% go farther than 100. And even if your 100% is not cutting it, the 90% will, because you are acting and living in faith. Jim talked earlier about taking risks. You don't really take a risk with the Lord. He will provide. And I only have my little dagger here. My wife's got my whole Bible in the Adoration Chapel. But Malachi chapter 3, folks, go to Malachi chapter 3, and God gets pretty firm with them. And he says, you're robbing me. You're robbing me of the tithe. Bring your tithe into the storehouse and see if I don't open up the very windows of heaven and pour out blessings untold on you. I can tell stories of one particular woman, a single woman, she got invited to a beautiful gala event, and needed a nice dress, and she didn't have it. She didn't have that much money. She was in debt up to her ears and just didn't know. And we did a teaching on tithing, and she said, I don't know where I'm going to do it, but I'm going to give 10% right off the top. And within a couple of weeks, somebody gave her a beautiful gown, and it was her size. And it happens over and over and over again. People that aren't making it, people that are in debt. It sounds crazy, I know. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound reasonable, but you know what? If I tell people when they give me that line, it's not reasonable. Somebody raising from the dead doesn't sound reasonable.
That's
to me.
right.
that little wafer is really Jesus. That doesn't sound
reasonable. No.
We don't go by what's reasonable, although we believe in reason and faith. But there are things with God, He goes beyond what is reasonable to us. Yeah. And God will provide for you to tithe. You tithe to the church, tithe to radio station, tithe. How God wants you to tithe. You just, it works out. And I tell you, you can't outgive God. I know that's been said 100 times, and you can't. I'm not telling you that if you give the radio station or your church $100, God's going to send you a check for 200. Right. I'm not saying that, but He's going to bless you in unbelievable ways, and I know that it's going to financially work out if you tithe. If you start tithing, you're going to have extra money. If not for this radiothon, by next year, you'll have enough to make some great donations.
See,
you can start to do it.
Okay, and you heard Bruce, 609-882-9357. Call in right now, my friends, and tithe. Just, whatever you can do, tithe. And we need your support, need your help. I'm going to take a quick break, turn you over to Called to Communion, Dr. David Anders, for a little bit. 609-882-9357. We need you now. We need you to help us out. Don't be afraid. Take that risk. Say yes to the Lord. 609-882-9357. We'll be right back. Don't go away.